I mean, with Sam, directly after the mid-season break, and not just this mid-season break, but the Toronto Defiant just won an incredibly close derby against the Titans. And I guess I wanted to ask you, like, how you're feeling with this. Were you, like, elated for your boys, or is there, a little bit of, I wish I was also there?
I do wish I was there, but it was a fun match. I enjoyed watching it. Happy that they were able to pull out a good win. Um, looks like honestly a lot of the problems from the stage before have been solved. So it was a good win for Toronto.
It just seems weird that suddenly there's just other meta interpretations with admittedly a little bit of patching, but it also feels like the break facilitated some meta variations, right?
Yeah.
Do you think, like if that had been more explored, that it would have been something that could have helped you in the first half?
Potentially, yeah. But I also think the meta changed to a point where it's like maybe it helps out the middle tier teams and kind of like the bottom teams a little bit. But I still think the top teams are going to be playing a lot of this same stuff.
Makes sense, yeah. Now, all right, I want to start chronologically because we didn't have a one-on-one since, I mean, pretty much, or I think this is the first one. We talked when you were on the Defiant. We had the preseason interview. But individually, I never got to hear what your impressions of, playing for the Shock were. What do you have fond memories of the time? How do you, recollect that part of your career?
Yeah. That was like the best experience I possibly could have asked for. Like I'm so thankful to have participated in the 2022 season of Overwatch League 4 tournaments, made all the tournaments. And then with that being on the Shock, with those guys, it was like I made memories there that I'll never forget. I still talk to a lot of the guys almost every single day. Um, and yeah, like I'm very thankful to have been able to compete on that team. I learned like a lot as a player and just as a person. So
How would you compare these two experiences you had on the Defiant and then on the Shock?
like team base or like Overwatch League stuff, like just kind of like team to team.
Both in terms of like, how the team was structured on the server or internally, and then also maybe socially.
Honestly, not too much of a difference. I feel like Shock was a little bit maybe more review heavy. We talked about the game a lot more because we were in a team house. Constant Overwatch being talked about, which I didn't mind. Toronto, I'd say we definitely talked about the game less, less review. And because we had ranked this season, less scrims. So I didn't mind either one, honestly. I do wish like that was one thing I wish on Toronto we did kind of review more and talk about the game more because we weren't doing too hot. But yeah.
When I talked to you guys in the preseason, you described that, of course, you had been once a unit as American Tornado. Then everyone went their own way. It was sort of like in pairs of two. I wonder, you'd express that, especially the Shock guys were sort of strategically ahead, while the Atlanta guys maybe were lacking a little bit. Did that ever, level out?
I think they caught up. Yeah, I don't think the Atlanta guys were like underperforming. I honestly think it was just a team thing. I feel like we were all doing like a lot of stuff just wrong, and like I think we're approaching things wrong as well.
Can you elaborate on that? What do you think? What was the wrong approach?
I just think we should like we should have talked about the game more, sat down, talked about the game. Like the coaches obviously were doing their job, but I think like if a team wants to win, bad enough, they'll sit down and talk to each other about things. And I don't know. I don't feel like we did that as much. I feel like we could have helped each other out more.
Makes sense. So do you think that that's where the friendship aspect was actually a little bit of a hurdle because maybe you don't want to piss off your friend?
Yeah,
Makes sense.
100%.
Now, we'll get to the Defiant. I just want to linger on the Shock point a little bit because you have inside knowledge in terms of like how that coaching stuff works, at least in part. You have knowledge of how Proper works, how Finn works. Was it surprising to you that they had such a relatively bad first half of the season?
Yeah, it was pretty surprising. I honestly did think they'd be like a top 4 team at the very least. Um, I think they didn't have maybe as much like flexibility. Like only having 2 DPS and only having 2 supports. I think kind of made it stressful for them.
It's
That's maybe what I could see.
it's strange that on paper, at least that's the public perception, that with Renko and Luke coming in, those are on paper worse players, but they seem to be doing better. And the fact that Finn, I'm not sure if he was a role star, but if not, he was close. Then it feels weird that they're now performing better. Do you have any explanation for that?
I think it's like about play styles. Like I think Finn's a great player. Maybe like he's struggling in this meta. I'm not sure. I think Finn's an amazing player. Um, but I do think it's about play styles and honestly just like what the team needs. Like different teams need different things, and I think maybe Renko and Luke are able to like uh give Shock what they need, and yeah. Um, Yeah, I mean that's all I really can say, I guess. Like I think Finn Finn's been struggling, but I think he played on a little bit last year and he did fine. So I mean I don't think he's like a bad on or anything. But yeah.
Yeah. Is it surprising to you that someone with Lugmino's recent history, I mean, the Paris Eternal or Vegas Eternal, weren't exactly doing swell. He joins a team with, an MVP level caliber, one of the best coaches of all time, and suddenly, like, he just slots in, they win games. Is it just really, like, the quality of the general play in the Overwatch League is good enough as long as the system around them is good?
Um, how do I think when like players get to a certain level, they get like attain a certain like understanding of like the game. So I think like what Luke and Renko maybe are like open-minded enough and maybe aren't like at that level yet. So like anything like it's all new to that kind of like new to them, I guess. Like they're getting to a point where um like coach like Krusty or 9K will tell them something and that's kind of like it like sticks a lot harder. Like I don't really know how to explain it, but um I just think Luke like probably went in with a very open mind and just learning a lot. Same with Renko. And I think they're applying it pretty well, and I think that's like what we see in the most recent results.
When I talked to Shockwave, he talked about being coached by 9K, of course, during the Fusion time. And he said like he was almost pissed off how smart 9K was. Is that something that was also your experience?
I don't know about pissed off, but yeah, he is like probably I'd say he's the best Overwatch coach in the world for sure.
Why?
I don't even know how to like describe it, man. He's just got an answer for everything. He makes it short. He makes it quick. He makes it simple. Um, he just knows everything about the game. Like he is like without a doubt, I feel like the best Overwatch coach ever.
Interesting. How would you generally describe how the coaching, maybe in terms of styles, on the Shock worked, and then now with No Hill and Casaurus? And maybe you can even illuminate a little bit. I think a lot of people are interested in the coaching style of No Hill.
Honestly, I felt like No Hill is pretty similar to 9K, but he just wasn't there in person.
Mm.
So um getting like the most out of his like reviews and stuff I think was a little bit harder, especially like the internet in China, dude, was just not like that good at
Mm.
all. Like a lot of his reviews would like freeze up and like they'd make it like 15, 20, 30 minutes longer than it needed to be. um but I honestly felt like No Hill was doing an amazing job. I think No Hill's a great coach. um and the structure that we had on Shock was honestly pretty similar to what we had on Toronto. Does that mean like you're gonna get the same results? No. but you know, I did feel like it was. I think the coaching staff did great on both sides.
Makes sense. Now, it felt like there is like an archetype of what a flex DPS is in Overwatch League. What is generally expected of flex DPS players, that what's generally expected of hit scan players. There's like the odd one trick that's stand out, you know, like I'm thinking Venom and thinking Viper. Overall, you have sort of these puzzle pieces, and that's how metas sort of build. And one of those is like the flex DPS player has to have a tracer, then the hard hit scan. If he has some sort of flex DPS, that can help, but usually you have them on the hard hit scan. And then maybe you have a guy that's a specialist, right? For your team, it was kind of interesting, where I think in the preseason, when I asked who's the best tracer for the Defiant, at least in the preseason, folks would have told me Hydron. But Hydron is, of course, your hit scan. And then others told me it made sense for Speedily to try to learn the tracer. It's just unfortunately the case that a lot of folks just have years upon years of experience, and the lead tracers are very important to Overwatch. So did it feel like in this particular meta, how the meta fell, that the puzzle pieces as they were formed in terms of, you know, also you playing, you know, a Genji and a Hanzo, which is also relatively unusual, that while you covered the hero pool, it was hard to cover it in the way that other Overwatch League teams are capable of, because, you know, the hero pools of their DPS starters were different?
Could you ask that one more time?
Right. So let's say you play a meta where your flex DPS has to both play tracer and then flex on the same map. But that isn't theoretically not available to you guys, right? Is that something that held you guys back? Like just like the hero pool combination of the DPS?
I don't think so now.
Right.
I don't think so. I think we had a pretty flexible DPS line. But I just think in matches, a lot of like speedily in scrims and speedily in matches was just I think he did amazing in scrims. I do think he struggled a little bit more in matches, just because like people, especially in this like on a break meta, just play completely different in matches. Like people take less risks. Like everyone is like, there's one step, and like in scrims, speed could kind of just like skip a step, get a kill, get another kill. Oh, we win. So you could like, you know, hard carry in scrims, not really have to worry about like, you know, making mistakes is practice, you know. But I think in matches like that didn't translate well, because matches, especially in metas like this, are just completely different. And it wasn't just speedily, you know, it was a lot of I just think a lot of like stuff we did in scrims didn't translate well to matches as well.
Is it because you played differently, or because the opponent played differently?
Both.
Yeah, makes sense. Like from what I heard, you guys were absolute scrim warriors, which also like just very high win rates, even against good teams. Even had the luxury to, you know, therefore scrim a bunch of better teams. I heard like you probably didn't need to scrim as much. I think Sika told me you didn't need to scrim Valiant at all through the season, maybe once or twice. So like it definitely checks out that you guys were doing very well in scrims. Now, in terms of the DPS question, I looked at your statistics, right? And you played like, I think 3 hours of pure gameplay this season, and 1 hour 15 of that was Sombra, your most played hero, right? And it actually was pretty good in terms of team fight win rates and whatnot. I wonder, what if Hydron had, you know, been the designated Sombra player at the start, Tracer player at the start of season, and you were locked in at Sombra? Do you think that would have changed anything for you guys?
Yeah.
In what sense?
Yeah. I think having someone that was like, Hydron's like been comfortable in the Tracer role before, so having someone that's kind of more like confident on a role, and I mean, it's not no shade at Speedily. Like I definitely think Speedily would have played a lot. But like Hydron was already kind of like comfortable in the Tracer role, and I honestly, it would have changed stuff, not that much though, to be honest. I don't think it would have changed like very minimal. But I mean, we had tried Hydron. We tried the Hydron tracer stuff, and I guess I mean I'm not the coach, right? So I mean I don't know if it really would have like made too big of a difference. I think in scrims we tried it a couple times, and I mean it didn't go through to the match, right? So, but I definitely think it would have changed stuff. Just like he's played it in matches before. He has experience on it. He's got like probably double or triple the play time on it than Speedily has. So I'm sure maybe it changes something. I don't know if it's for the better or for the worse. But yeah, it definitely changes something.
Sure. Another thing that might have really mattered is just how strong Winston was. Because when I talked to Dante, he's like, you know, it's really hard to catch up on these guys that have 1 million jumps on me, right? Like 1 million times, just like it feels like Winston is one of those heroes where experience is incredibly rewarding. And there's like 5 very good Winstons and everyone else is just not close in comparison, right? Do you think it would have either mattered if Winston was not meta and something would have been more in Kalush's, hero pool, or if indeed you guys had been able to assemble the entire Exodia and got Reiner back? Do you think either of those things would have significantly changed this season?
Yeah, 100%. I think if off tanks like Hogs, Arya, Diva, Sigma were more viable, like 100% we'd see a lot better results, right? But as well as Reiner, I think if we had Reiner would have just helped no matter what. Even if he wasn't playing, I think Reiner just would have helped a lot. That having a personality like that around is like so huge. Like I mean, that was honestly like that was why AT was coming together. Like he was the player everyone wanted to play with. He was our role star. Like he act like our actual role star. He was our only role star. So for sure, would have changed something.
Have you guys kept up with him?
Yeah, I still talk to him every now and then.
Sweet, yeah. Yeah, it's a rough situation. Did you guys experiment at all with Kalush on other tanks and try to find some individual meta solution that could have worked?
Yeah, but maybe this is part of like we're being a scrim warrior sucks. We were doing good on the monkey, and it felt like we were getting better at it, so we stuck with it.
Yeah, no, makes perfect sense. Do you think there would have been, let's say, even just for a 30-day, do you think there would have been some player that you guys could have picked up that would have helped you improve your performance?
On Monkey?
On Monkey, for instance, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Do
you have anyone in mind?
Mikey, off the top of my head, but...
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
In general, if you're now thinking about this project, do you think it was worth trying to reassemble American Tornado? Do you think the try was worth it?
100%, yeah.
What was it worth?
100%. I would take the risk like every single time. I mean, I got to like live and be around like my best friends. Like I moved around my entire life. Like I never had like a close friend group. I've been like best friends with these guys for 4, 5, 6 years. Like I would never like take back, making this decision. And yeah, I don't regret it at all. And I think if like the game was in a different spot, like I think if it was a spot similar to last year. Wait, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, your camera's like bugging out. It's like just green. Here, I'll show
sorry.
you.
Wait,
That's what it looks like.
Yep. Yeah, it's still working for me. No worries. It's the recording is running.
Okay.
What I can do is give me a sec.
But yeah, I wouldn't regret it. And I do think like if the game was at a different spot, we could have seen some way better results. So.
Yeah, for sure. But what I will say is, and I'm not sure if you guys did this as a conscious effort, if the brand wanted it, or if this is just your personality, but I felt like you guys became the gold standard in terms of, engaging with your community, doing the content, being personable, showing up to, the fan meetups and whatnot. Is that something you made a conscious effort of? Was it the team, or is it just how you guys are?
I think it's how we are. I mean, me and Colin, we had to do a lot of that kind of stuff on Shock, and I think like it's one thing doing it, but seeing the reward is also like really nice, and it's kind of eye opening. So I don't complain about fan meetups or deliverables as much anymore. When I was a rookie on Shock, it's like I have to do this, I have to do that. But like as I kind of like matured and the year went on, I kind of started seeing like what it actually was, and I kind of
What is it
it's kind of
actually?
eye opening. I mean, just seeing like the fans and like the support you get after, and people seeing people there that are like actually there to like support you and your team is just pretty eye opening, and it's like it's like a once in a lifetime experience like this. Past my professional career, probably won't happen too much again. So
Yeah. Were you ever recognized just walking around in Toronto?
once or twice, maybe once, twice. LA, countless. When I
Yeah.
was in LA, yeah, countless, yeah.
Nice, nice. Now, I think this catching this lightning in a bottle approach of having a very successful Contenders team and then trying to get that into Overwatch League and have it work the same way. It was tried two, arguably three times this season. Of course, I'm thinking you guys with American Tornado. I'm thinking O2 with Shock, and to a certain degree Odyssey with the Eternal. And all of those seem to perform below expectations. Were the expectations wrong, or is there something about that type of approach that needs augmentation? It just can never, like, copy paste doesn't work anymore.
No, I think it can work, but I think pull up Liquipedia here and we can talk about the state of the game. Um, Go to Atlanta Reign results midseason. Um, yeah, so I mean, 3 out of like the top 4 teams in the world are like veteran heavy teams.
Yes.
And then depending on how you count it, Florida, uh, yeah, not so much veteran heavy, I guess. But I think it's a pretty veteran heavy heavy meta in terms of like it's more so like experience in my opinion at least, and a lot of like the like AT O2, like the Ana Brig slow, Sombra Tracer like very slow, and like resource control. I don't think like they were ever like the best at. So I think if the game's in a different state, we see AT shine a lot more, or if the game's in a different state, we see O2 shine a lot more. Like the meta obviously didn't favor either of us, so I don't think it's just like a complete oh nope, contender teams come in now don't work, but it is a lot bigger of a risk in my opinion, if that makes sense, because they only did play with each other in like metas that were similar to what they played with, when they were in contenders, right? So outside of that, you don't know what you're gonna get, so
Makes sense, yeah. And to be
yeah.
fair, I think either team didn't have the full lineup, and as you explained, Reiner was a pretty instrumental part of your, American Tornado, and the fact that he wasn't there is it's probably unfair to say that that was a complete rebuild for that reason, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Now, of course, we have to talk about that you guys were split up and cut.
Mhm.
And there was a message from OG, like we've been split up and whatnot a little bit before the news became known. Can you describe like what at what point you knew? Because like for instance, Dante knew like as soon as the replacement was leaked that this was a likelihood. How did you find out?
Um, Went to the office one day and boom, blindsided. I got told I was dropped as well. Me and Wheats. Anyways, I messaged Wheats. I was like, why didn't you just tell me? Because like there's like my old head coach, like we
Mm.
grew up, and he was like, oh shit. He's like, I didn't know you were dropped. He's like, oh like, and then he was like, oh, I'm probably dropped.
Mm.
That's actually how it went. And yeah.
All right, so you find out, and of course, immediately you have to, make some decisions. And other, like, mid-season is rebuild time. There are presumably some other opportunities, maybe, at least for trials. Did you get any other trials or offers from Overwatch League teams?
Offers, no. Interest and trials, yes. And yeah.
Did you pursue those?
I did not.
Do you want to talk about why?
I just felt like it's just for the I'm in a pretty like getting dropped. I got to find out where to live. Find out like a whole bunch of this stuff, and I just felt like competing wasn't the best option for me right now. And I think just taking some time off for the remainder of this season was the best course of action for me. I'm still like a hyper competitive person, and I definitely will look to compete again one day, but as of now, I just think streaming and going collegiate and maybe contenders is the best option for me. And yeah, next season I'll go LFT again, but for now I think I'm just gonna get some stability going and try to get my head in the right place and prepare myself for next off season.
For sure. Is it is it a hard decision similar to how Dante phrased it, where this season doesn't have the same incentive structure because you don't have as many offline events? As you said, you went to all of them, right? You get to travel, you get to compete, get to meet these people in person, you get to meet the friends in person. Is there something missing that, really stifles the competitive desire?
Nah. No, it's all me. It has nothing to do with like the league, the game. Just it's not. I don't want to take a break from competing. To be honest, like I would love to be able to keep playing. Right now with just like stuff I got going on in life, like and being what happened with Toronto, I just felt like it was the best option. I really, honestly, it felt like I didn't really have a choice, to be honest. So
Makes sense. I think
yeah.
I think fans of yours are interested if you're good in terms of like, do you have something on the horizon that you can pursue as a next step?
Collegiate, yeah.
All right.
Collegiate.
So that's a definitive.
And yeah, it'll 100% be collegiate and streaming. I'll be going hard on streaming. I really like it a lot, and I think as the season progresses, we'll see hopefully a lot more content. With Dante having a lot more free time now, maybe I'll do some stuff with him. But yeah, just streaming collegiate and keep trying to get better.
Do you feel like you want to stay involved in like the esports content creation, or do you usually just want to stream your ranked games?
I like streaming my ranked games, but I honestly do think esports content creation would be a lot more fun if I officially retired. So I'm gonna like wait till that because I couldn't keep a straight face doing esports content creation. I just think I'd have way too much fun with it, and it'd be more like the flank or something like from the Call of CDL. Might be funny or some stuff like that, but I mean, I'm not opposed to it right now, but I don't really want to like dive deep into like Overwatch League content creation or just honestly content creation in general. I kind of just streaming really kind of just like for me, to keep in contact with like the people that support me and stuff.
It's interesting that you mentioned the flag because players sometimes show up there. They don't have to fear for their career, right? What you're implicitly saying here is that's not what you feel. Like you have to, hold back to certain degrees. Maybe it's due to the forces that be. Maybe it's due to the environment. Do you feel this? Do you feel there's something that you need to hold back that other esports don't have?
I don't know if I need to hold back, but if I went into like and did like more Overwatch League content, I feel like to be funny and get like the full extent out of that, like man, you could not be like like I don't know. I feel like you couldn't hold back. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's just how it is. Like I think for like a player to do it, it just and like get the most out of it. I don't think you would have to hold back. I think you'd have to just say what's on your mind. I don't think that's like the best course of action right now,
For sure.
especially with like I don't know. And another thing is like it hasn't really been done before. Like that kind of stuff with like the Overwatch League. So you have to like test the waters on your own. I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder. Like, I think it would receive pushback. I wonder if that pushback is not the content exactly what we're needing. The little bit of back and forth, and I think it's important to point out this is purely on the competitive side, right? Like you want to tell some players they're bad, right? Like, but you also want
Yeah,
to.
yeah. That's like that just doesn't really happen in the Overwatch scene. Like in the CDL, like players get told their shit every day.
Right.
By other players, by the fans. Like I feel like that doesn't so much happen, you know. But I mean, not that I would like call any player shit, but like you know, I don't know how to explain it. Like like I can't if I were to do like esports content, I can't just start up and like talk about it how like the analytical people like Jake and them talk about it on the Overwatch League desk. Like I can't
Mm.
just do that, I have to
Mm.
like it has to be different. It has to be so that's what I'm saying. Like I have to give opinions that are different and stuff like that.
And presumably those opinions would be some that
Yeah,
future
yeah,
future.
exactly.
Yeah, makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. No, like I think generally speaking, whenever you guys talked about stuff openly, I personally really enjoyed it. I think it
Mhm.
brought some flavor to the league. And you crack a few eggs sometimes. I think that's
Yeah.
generally how it goes. All right, then. Unless you have any topic that you want to touch upon, and that's like a burning desire to talk about, I'd thank you for the interview,
Yeah, no
and
problem.
best of luck in your next endeavor in collegiate, and hopefully next year in the Overwatch League.
Thank you. I appreciate you.